Welcome to the House on Fire podcast. Our aim is to light a fire for Jesus in the homes of those who listen through encouragement and equipping. Let's partner together to advance the gospel in the next generation. I am your host, Lucas Jackson, and I am passionate about seeing more people on fire for Jesus. When you listen to the House on Fire podcast, you'll hear from people you can rub shoulders with every week at Bethel Church, because all of our guests are from our church family. These are people striving to love God, love others, and to serve the world. Hey guys, thanks for joining us on this episode. Glad to have Steve on with us. Steve, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Well, just to start things off here, tell us a little bit about your story and kind of who you are and who your family is.
Yeah, so I grew up in Minot, North Dakota, otherwise known as the Magic City.
Really?
I don't know if you've heard that or not.
I've not heard those two things in reference. So what does that mean, the Magic City?
Yeah, so Magic City it's the origination of the town. It kind of started out as, they called it like a tent city.
Okay.
And then the railroad came through there.
Okay.
James Hill was very famous. One of the schools actually that I attended was called Jim Hill. And then in a matter of, I think it was like 5 to 6 months, the town had grown from like a tent city to about 5,000 or 6,000 people. And so it was just the magic of how quickly it sprung up from that to thousands of people.
Okay.
All because of the railroad.
Okay. Love it. That's awesome. Yeah. And I guess I've never been there actually, surprisingly. Is it still about that size?
No, it's actually a pretty big town. There is a very large Air Force base there, which is kind of unique. So the B-52s fly. Okay. Something that was really cool in my childhood watching, you just kind of take it for granted. But seeing those big planes in the air is something amazing.
That's cool.
When I lived there, it was about 35,000 plus the air base was, I think, 5,000 to 7,000 or so. Okay. Now I think it's about a 50,000 type population. So it's a decent size.
Okay. Yeah. Was that like a good place to grow up? I mean, not like you had a choice in it, but
it really was. It was not a huge city, but it was big enough, and it was kind of like the biggest city around for, a couple hours. And so there's a lot of people that would come in from rural areas from Canada to come in shopping and stuff. So with that and the air base, it stayed a pretty bustling city. Yeah. If you like the outdoors, it was a great place to grow up. And so I did a lot of hunting and fishing with my dad. Played a lot of golf there growing up. Okay. And then the funny thing is, I had the perception that Minot was it was flat. It was North Dakota. There's no mountains. And then I moved to Fargo. You don't know flat until you live here. But Minot is actually quite hilly. It's kind of a river valley. So there's a river that runs through the center of it. And there's like a North Hill and South Hill part of the community. But it's actually very, very pretty.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, that's cool. Yeah, it's pretty flat here.
Yeah. And I always thought Minot was windy too. It's not as windy as here.
Yeah, I thought my time in Chicago and seminary was windy, and then I moved to Fargo. And I'm like, oh no, Chicago's not the windy city compared to Fargo.
Yeah, it's crazy here too. Being a golfer, I'm sensitive to wind in the summer.
Is there a time of day that?
Well, here, not really.
Okay, because I was going to say.
Like in Minot, so I worked at a grocery store, and so I would either golf, usually early in the morning, but usually it was windy in the afternoon, calm in the mornings, calm in the evenings, almost like clockwork. Yeah. Here, I thought it was going to be the same. It just blows 24/7, it seems like. But,
yes,
But it is, I love Fargo. It's a great community to live in, but yeah, I could use less wind.
Yeah, I didn't notice it as badly until the winter hit, and then I realized, that snow's not following horizontally, or going sideways or whatever. The nature of the wind in the winter. Yeah,
you learn to walk with the hunch in the winter, hood up, head down.
Yes, sir.
March forward.
Well, tell us a little bit about your household and your immediate family.
Yeah, so I am, be celebrating 30 years with my wife, Sean, of marriage here coming up next summer. Crazy how quick that has gone by.
Oh, yeah.
And then we have 2 young adult children, Abby and Sophie. I think they're pretty special. We really enjoy spending time with them. And they both currently live in Fargo, too.
Yeah. Yeah, so you're the last of your household that's been on the podcast.
I am, yes.
It's fun to have the whole Lynn family on.
What worship service and campus do you normally attend with your family?
Yeah, Fargo campus, 9 a.m. Pretty regular there. Yeah.
Yep, same spot.
Same spot. Yeah, front left.
I love it.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of funny. I kind of like moving around, but I am one of the four who does. Everybody else kind of likes their pattern in their area. But yeah, every now and then we'll sit someplace else, but usually not.
Yeah. Are you and your wife involved in a life group or anything like that?
Currently, no.
Okay.
Over our years at Bethel, we've been in a few for quite a few years. We haven't been. I guess this is the second year. Just some life changes with the group that we were in. We kind of fizzled out a little bit. But this fall, I reconnected with men's fraternity on Friday morning. So I've been going to that, and yeah, that's been really, really enjoyable.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
When did you become a believer?
A very young age. I kind of had that story where you grow up in a Christian home. It was a great environment. Church was a really big part of our lives. My mom worked in the office, church secretary there. But yeah, just spent a lot of time in church. I think it was probably like 6 or 7, pretty young age.
Yeah.
Remember in Sunday school, our bright orange carpet in the church, and just hearing bright orange. It was awesome.
I can't even. I've never seen bright orange, red.
Yeah,
or dark red, I guess maybe, but I've never seen bright orange.
Kind of a burnt orange and
interesting,
kind of multicolor. But it was pretty famous. But great church. But yeah, just hearing the salvation message in Sunday school, just kind of making that prayer and accepting Jesus into my heart, Lord and Savior. Yeah. And really don't remember a time, not having Jesus in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
was it like in the classroom with your teacher, or or is it
That's what I am envision. Like I can picture the classroom. I also went to kindergarten there.
Okay.
But I picture the classroom. Like I said, I don't remember exactly the age and the moment. I just remember aspects of it around then. But
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah,
I love it. What areas do you find yourself often serving here at the church?
Yeah, I guess the most consistent thing is helping out on Wednesday nights with middle school ministry. So that's been really fun to help out there.
Yeah.
Been doing that for, I guess it'll be 2 years in January now coming up. So that's been fun. And then my wife and I, we've been helping out periodically with, odds and ends kind of around cooking and baking, usually with some of the youth events, sometimes with college ministry when we used to do college lunch. But yeah, it's something we like to do together. And so glad to be able to share that with others once in a while.
I just hope nobody else listens to this portion, because then they'll know the amazing desserts that you guys... The middle school students still rave about the desserts for the middle school camp this past summer. They still talk about it all the time.
That's awesome.
All the time. So yeah.
Glad they enjoyed that.
Because your dad owned a bakery, right?
Yeah. So it's funny. So my mom was the baker in the house. So she always had kind of like treats that would be in the freezer, or just always something on demand or available. And my dad, he was a bakery manager. And so he would bake breads and buns and things like that. But I would often accompany him to the bakery on off hours and sample a few things from the freezer. But no, we usually had a good flow of baked goods flowing between the grocery store where he worked at in our house. So
that's awesome.
It was awesome. Yeah.
So your household, because sometimes when that's like the nature of growing up as a kid, you're like, oh, I'm not going to do that as all, like sometimes the opposite happens, with the things that we, experience growing up. Like, so are you guys, is that a thing? You guys still do that? And
yeah, so John's family is very much a foodie family. They love, that's just a part of their family gatherings. And that's always fun to get together and have food as part of the gathering. But both my daughters and wife, we all like to cook, and it's just kind of a fun thing to do together. It's sometimes life gets a little busy, and so not always the easiest thing to do as everyone's getting a little bit older, but certainly something we look forward to.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Well, today we're going to talk a little bit about anchored in grace, staying spiritually rooted through life's demands. And so what does being anchored in grace mean to you personally?
Yeah, I think it means a couple things. When I think of an anchor, I think of stability, kind of that visualization of a ship where the anchor helps hold the ship, whether it's beautifully calm or whether it's stormy. It's consistent. It's always there.
Yeah.
And for me, thinking about God and His grace, it's like that's exactly what I need. Just trying to stay humble when things are going good. Just recognize that as a blessing and not something from anything I did. His grace when I need forgiveness, when I mess up, and His grace to help me through the challenging times.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
Has there been like certain periods in your life where this aspect of God's grace that has just become more prevalent, or the truth of that has resonated more with you?
Yeah, there was kind of recently, probably about 5-ish years ago through work, there was a lot going on then. Just various parts of my life, just, moving, different responsibilities and jobs, family, some different things going on. Definitely, it's, to me, humility and relying on God for strength and helping with anxious times has been pretty big for me. It's not always been something I've excelled at. It's kind of a constant struggle, but something I try and recognize and kind of lean on that as much as possible.
Yeah. As we were kind of chatting about like what topic that you kind of wanted to cover, why this specific topic, out of all the things, like why did this one seem to quickly resonate to the top of the list, so to speak?
It was kind of funny. I think I mentioned it to you. I certainly mentioned it to my family. I'm like, yeah, Lucas asked me to think about doing this. I'm like, I don't think I'm that interesting. I don't know what I would pick. And
that's what everybody says.
That's what you said.
So everybody says that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I kind of thought about it, prayed about it, had a few different ideas and bounced them off of my family. And then one of my daughters suggested, like you're just kind of generally a busy guy at work, kind of a demanding job, and like just kind of how you make everything work and balance priorities. And I'm like, okay, let me think about that. And that kind of led to this topic.
Yeah. And I don't think I asked this earlier. What do you do for work? I mean, I know what you do for work, but.
Yeah. So I work in electronics development. Actually worked at the same company my whole kind of adult working career, which is extremely odd.
That's like rare.
Very rare, especially in the area of engineering. And so I went to NDSU. That's the reason I moved from Minot to Fargo, was to finish school here for my double E degree. But yeah, I hired in with a small company. Our parent company kind of owned a little bit of them and eventually bought 100% of them. And it's just been a great place to work. There's been a lot of opportunity, a lot of challenges. I always feel like I'm growing. And so that's kind of why I've hung around. When I first hired there, I was really kind of had my heart set on working in the medical industry, like working on pacemakers or that type of stuff.
Okay.
And the industry wasn't great at the time. They were maybe hiring some PhDs. That was not in my future. I wanted to work and make some money. I was done going to school for a while.
Yeah.
So I found this job. Knew some people working there. Said, "Yeah, I'll try this out." And I was like 3 years, and it'll be a stepping stone onto something else. And yeah, 30 years in January. It's crazy. But yeah, what I do, I currently manage an engineering team that is developing electronics mainly for electric drive systems for like construction, heavy duty commercial on highway vehicles. So yeah, it's fun.
And you've surely seen tons of changes in 30 years.
Yeah.
Oh man, I could only imagine.
Yeah,
changes.
Just looking at the electronic parts, the circuit boards, the types of things that are on parts from then to what we have on there now.
Oh, man,
the computing power, how things have shrunk.
In terms of like size, like things aren't as big.
Physical size, yeah.
Oh man, yeah.
And then a few years ago, through the pandemic, chip shortage, you kept hearing that in news. Like, man, we lived that. That was chaotic. In my career, there's been about 3 kind of quote chip shortages that I've lived through. And this most recent one was by far the biggest one. It was so impactful. It was just kind of doing everything to keep our factory up and running. But yeah, we made it through, and yeah.
And what was it that caused the shortage? I forget exactly, like getting the certain
just kind of the pandemic in general, but with the pandemic, that kind of changed everybody's working. And so there was all this remote work now. And so there was, more monitors being bought, more computer equipment, more servers to kind of help with remoting into to your company's system. And there was just a massive consumption of electronic parts. And they call them fabs, but basically the companies in the facilities that make all these electronic parts were just at capacity, and they were cranking out stuff as fast as they could. And it takes probably 3 to 5 years to bring on a new fab online for developing electronic parts. And it's super expensive. So it's not something that you can turn a switch on. Yeah. It's multi-years to plan, and it's due to the expense of it, companies don't jump right in because it's an investment and they could go, the complete wrong direction if the business isn't there. But
and I didn't even think of the toll of that component from COVID. That's just not, I mean, in your world, it makes sense that would be something you're aware of. But that wasn't even a thing on my radar to think about.
Yeah. And it was crazy. In the news, they made it seem like it was, computer chips. And certainly that was part of it, like kind of the brains of a lot of stuff, but it was everything electronic. It could have been a part that was maybe, a penny or 5 or 10 cents. And some of those you just could not get. And it was challenging time. So doing redesigning of things quickly to kind of design in parts that were available.
Man,
it was it was a lot. Glad I was not working in supply management at that time, but engineering was hard enough.
Yes, man. Well, looking back again at, Anchored in Grace, where was there a season in your life when you felt spiritually like unrooted, and how did God draw you back?
Yeah, I kind of reference what I just mentioned here, but it was probably like 5 years ago, kind of, shortly into the pandemic. At work, I'd been through a few reorgs over that time, but this was by far the largest reorganization we had as a company. And a lot of hard decisions were made, and I understand the reasons why. And I would not go against any of them. I just look highly upon the people making those hard decisions, but it was very impactful to my job. Just kind of move into a different part of the organization, some different responsibilities. In the end, it turned out very good, blessed with an opportunity, but it was just chaotic. There was that going on. There was, getting more team members, a global team, all this, chip shortages, like all of that was happening at once, and pretty aggressive growth in the organization too. And there was about a 2-year stretch where it was just, I'd come home and just like, this is just not sustainable. And talking with Sean a lot of praying, and we're just like things were just out of balance, and so just trying to think of I need to make a change, I need to do something.
Yeah.
And so I was reading my Bible, but not super consistent, and I kind of started seeing this ad for something called the Bible study. It was oddly enough, but it was a Bible reading plan with a pretty big study guide that went through it. There was a book for Old Testament, a book for New Testament.
Yeah.
And visually it was just kind of a nice thing. And so after researching, I'm like, I can get behind this.
Yeah.
I've tried reading plans in the past. They're okay, but I'm kind of a checklist guy, and I find myself as like, read it, check it, I'm done, move on. And I just wasn't kind of digging into it deeper.
Yeah.
And that's where this really helped. The study was set up for a year. I did not complete it in a year, but I completed it.
Yeah.
I think it was about 2.5 years for me to get through it, but I did finish it, and it was great. I can't say I remember everything that I read and wrote down and studied, but it was just the process of it, and just kind of taking the notes and having that to go back and look at. And so that really kind of got me through it. Work kind of settled down. I just kind of recalibrated life's priorities, and it felt really good kind of coming out of that. Kind of about that time, it was probably a half a year after I kind of finished that up, is when you kind of randomly reached out to me. So, so after that, I'm like, just kind of like, I need to do something more. I need to get connected, start serving again. When our kids were younger, we did a lot with like teaching Sunday school and involved with various things. And I just really hadn't been doing that much. And so really kind of how, where I kind of get connected in and where can I serve? And lo and behold, you text is like, hey, you want to meet for coffee? I got something I want to chat with you about. And that was great. It was just perfect timing. I was like, man, like, how can this not be from God to kind of seriously consider what you were asking? And, kind of my biggest questions, if you remember, is, with work right now, I travel a fair amount, and just knowing that I'm going to be missing a lot because of, being gone during the week, you're like, doesn't matter. It's like, we got a place for you. And that was the right thing that I just needed to hear that. And so that's how I got involved with, plugged in with middle school ministry.
Yes. I remember that. I love it. I love it. When it, now that you're on kind of this side of that hard season, I'm just trying to think of like other, if other people were in that, if you were able to look back on your season life when you were there, and obviously everybody's story is very different, but what would be some of the things that you would say to somebody else? Like, here's the things you really need to contemplate or ponder or think about just in terms of being in a difficult season, you know?
Yeah, I think a big thing for me was finally being able to recognize and accept it. Some of it, you're just kind of living in the moment day to day, and you kind of don't realize what's happening until you look back and like, boy, this thing that I'm not doing is like, that's my new habit, is not doing it. And so just trying to, recognize that and make a change. For me, a big thing is prioritizing time and just really kind of trying to own my time, and really kind of planning out my day, and every day looks different. But for me, trying to do something daily, and I'm not perfect. I for sure miss days, but just kind of having that mindset, trying to do something daily. It might be in the morning, it might be in the evening, it might be over lunch at work, but whether it's reading the Bible or listening to music, worship music, podcast, watch a video, just like do something, just to kind of stay connected. And that was kind of a big thing for me. The other thing too that is big for me and kind of, helping me get through that and stay connected is just physical presence in church, like in the building, and just kind of walking through the doors. I know it's really easy to kind of stay connected, virtually. There's so many great things, that were created here over the last several years, but whether it's church or during the week, helping out with something or attending a class, to me, just kind of, I hate to use the word isolated, but just kind of retreating to inside this facility and kind of getting away from the pressures of life is just very refreshing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It is interesting. I often will tell people, the physical presence is a big deal. And I've heard so many stories in my time where somebody was gone for X amount of months or weeks and they finally showed up again. And so they ran into so-and-so, or God just did something, just there is something to be said about physically being present that I think our culture, I think, is lost a little bit, but I maybe see an upswing, maybe back towards the other way. And just, I don't know. There's something, it's kind of hard to describe, I feel like, but there is some aspect of physically being present with, the local body of believers that is transformative in so many ways.
Definitely. Yeah. And sometimes even on Wednesdays, during the week on a work day, it's like, oh, it's been a day, but every time that I make it here, never regret, that I'm here. It's great. And I'll always leave in a better place than where I came. But,
Would there be, I kind of asked the question a little bit differently, but would there be any other, practical ways that you would maybe mention for us to stay spiritually grounded when life gets busy? And you mentioned a handful there already, but would there be any others that you would mention that have been helpful and kind of beneficial for you?
Yeah, I think the importance of people around you. For me, I'd mentioned men's fraternity on Friday. That's something I did kind of pre-pandemic pretty faithfully when we were going through different study topics and books, and it was great. I loved it and just kind of got out of it. And then just with, like I said, we kind of got out of the small group here, and I was like, I got to get connected to do something. And I've loved that. It's early Friday morning. It's like, I'm an early morning person, so it's not that hard, but it's just, it's something, else to do, but it's great. It's just, talking with men. We're kind of going through the Bible recap and just being able to kind of listen to what Pastor Craig says, talk about it in a small group and a table, just get to know people. I think that really helps. And just people are pretty open to about talking about different struggles, different questions that they have. And just, I think relating to that is very important. Sometimes it's different. Sometimes it's the same as what you're going through, but it's just people being real. Not everybody's got it figured out. And I think that's what's comforting to me is we're all trying to do the best we can.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, now that I'm thinking about it, men's fraternity, I'm surely there's someone listening that has no idea what that is. And so I was actually looking it up on our website because I was like, how would Craig describe this? But maybe you can just describe it a little bit about what that specifically is because there may be somebody listening and they're like, oh, I'm interested in that. And so.
Yeah, definitely welcome you to join. I think I attend Friday mornings at 6:30. It meets like clockwork for an hour. So if you're worried about it running late, it's like 7:30. Craig's wrapping up. We're out the door. But and then I think there's one Wednesday night as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, we come together, eat breakfast. So that's kind of a fun time. We just visit for 10 minutes or so, and then Craig usually talks for a bit, and then we have about a half hour at table time. Just kind of going through some questions and discussion, with a group of, 5 to 10 people.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I said, we're working through along with the church reading plan, but the Bible recap, working through the New Testament. So we kind of talk through the prior week's reading. And the great thing about it is, like, not everybody, including myself, attends every week, and that's okay. And so if you're listening and looking for a way, it's a great opportunity to plug in and kind of meet some guys.
Yeah. No, it's awesome. Yeah, it's both at Wednesday, 6:30 p.m. in room 112, and then Friday morning, 6:30 in room 112, I guess, as well. So, or is it in the FLC?
112 and Fridays as well.
Okay, so 112. I guess maybe it was in FLC last year.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
No, it's awesome. Can you share a specific story where God's grace carried you through a difficult season? Is there maybe another one that you would mention, or maybe even it's more family oriented, or whatever it may be?
Yeah, this is going back a while. It's kind of, I didn't realize how rare this story was until I kind of, did a retrospective of it and learned a little bit more about it. But it's going back quite a while. It was about in my mid to late 20s, and it was a story of physical healing. And it'll take a little while to unpack, but I think it's an interesting journey. So bear with me here. But kind of started one day at work, just in the afternoon. I just got this horrible headache. Like, I'd never had anything like it before, and went home and just like, I needed to take some medicine and take a nap. It was that bad. And so I fell asleep, and then I woke up and I'm like, head still hurts. And now I got double vision. Like, now what? So this is great. And
Not married this time?
With married, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. Yeah. So Sean, she calls the Ask a Nurse, and the advice we got was get in the car and come to the ER, like, immediately, don't stop. And we're like, okay, this is kind of getting real. And so we go there. ER's got quite a few people in the waiting room. We get a bit of a priority, and so we get back the right away, which is also a little concerning.
Everybody else is still sitting there.
I feel good that I got in, but I don't. And so we go through a series of tests, and they were looking for potential aneurysm or tumor, come to find out. And thankfully, through, I had a CAT scan and all sorts of tests, they ruled those out, which was great, but they still weren't exactly sure what was going on.
Yeah.
And so they're like, well, it might be just like a really bad migraine. Have you had migraines before? And I was like, no, I haven't, but okay. So they gave me a shot. I stayed there for a while.
Like a shot,
like some type of pain shot, like a shot in my arm kind of thing.
To try, so your head didn't hurt as bad?
Yeah, and hopefully clear up the vision.
Okay.
So that helped. I was feeling good enough to go home. My vision wasn't totally restored, but it had been improving, and it was getting kind of late at night. So just like, I'm going home.
Yeah.
So I went home. Fell asleep and woke up the next morning, and my head pain was pretty much gone, but my vision had gotten worse. It was double vision again, pretty hard.
I can't even imagine what that's like to see.
It was not good. So we call. It's like, okay, go in to your family medicine doctor, just kind of have him check it out and see if there's anything else. And so I go in there, and he's asking a lot of questions, checking me out, and he's sitting right in front of me, and he does kind of the eye test where he's tracking eyes, and he's like, so he goes this way, and my both eyes track to the right, and then he follows his finger into the left. My one eye goes all the way, and my other eye stops.
Really?
It just does not move past a certain point. So he calls Sean over. He's like, check this out. He's kind of like, I'm like, okay, this is great. It's like,
show and tell.
My eye is not functioning.
Oh, wow.
And he's like, I've never seen anything like this. Let me send you over to an ophthalmologist. I'll get you right in. And so over we went. And then he started looking at my eye again. I'm just amazing everybody, because like, I'm just like, I've never seen this before. It's like, okay, great. And he looks inside my eye, and he's like, well, I know why your eye's not functioning. Like, your nerve's not firing. It's like, it's paralyzed.
Okay.
He goes, good news is it's like not dead. He goes, like the very base of it, he could see it kind of firing a little bit,
Okay.
but it just like the whole nerve was like not functioning. He goes, really nothing I can do for it. I'm pretty confident it's going to regenerate and kind of heal itself, but it's probably going to be, weeks to months, kind of thing. And so I'm like, okay, like nobody's explained like why this has happened, but, so the prescription I got was an eye patch, and on my way home, so I had a hard time wearing the eye patch. But yeah, it was hard. I mean, sensitivity to light was just crazy. I remember we went to a wedding. I went to the reception hall. It was dark, a lot of bright lights, and I couldn't handle it. We ended up leaving. It was just so overstimulating. But yeah, I don't know. I had obviously doing a lot of praying for it. My family and friends back in mine were praying too, and I just just a time. It was weird. I had a pretty good sense. I mean, obviously I was a little bit nervous about it, but a pretty good sense of peace. Like, okay, I believe that I'm going to get healed. It's going to take a while, but, and over that time, it just slowly got, better. And eventually it was many months. I was mostly back to normal,
okay,
but still didn't have an answer. Like what happened? And I don't want it to happen again.
How do we prevent this from happening?
Yeah. So kind of when this happened, I had an appointment scheduled with a neurologist, and it was like months down the road because this person was a specialist. They were so busy.
Yeah.
So I finally got in, and I was talking with her, and we were kind of describing it. Again, I have no idea what that is. I've never heard of it before. Migraines can often affect your vision, but it's usually, it comes and goes.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, as we were talking, she's kind of has this light bulb moment. I kind of remember hearing something like this back in medical school. And so she leaves the room.
No way.
Yeah. Oh, and so she comes back with this book about 3 or 4 inches thick. And it's like, she finds it and, she read it, and it was almost to a T what I had. It was probably 90% accurate. I think it was like the opposite eye. And she goes, I'm pretty sure this is what happened. And it was called an ophthalmoplegic migraine. And it's very rare. And it's something that if you have like at least 2 of them, you can kind of get in episodes. But if you have 2 of them, it's actually a neurological disorder.
Okay.
And it can become permanent damage. And so she's like, you'll be on migraine medicine now. So like never let a headache get this bad again. And so I'm pretty religious about if I feel something coming on, it's like I'm popping the good stuff, and we're going to take care of this. I don't need another one of these.
No.
But yeah, it was crazy. And so I was reading about it, and they're so rare that they're often misdiagnosed as aneurysms or tumors. That's kind of what they start looking after when somebody comes in with these symptoms. But yeah, it's a little under 1 in a million people will suffer from this condition.
Wow.
And it can happen at any age. It's usually in youth. But yeah, why I was, that 1 in a million, I don't know. I'd never had a migraine before that time. And
like ever?
Ever, no.
Wow.
That was my first migraine. And now I'll get them periodically. They're manageable. I know people with pretty severe migraines. Mine are not severe, but they're things I don't take lightly because of that.
For sure.
So, but yeah, anyway, I'm fully healed. Just my reward is periodic migraines, but I know how to manage them. But,
just a reminder.
But yeah, 1 in a million. That was kind of shocking to me. But
man, so like the nerve grew back or kicked back into gear, and
he just said it kind of had the way he kind of described it. I'm sure I'm getting it wrong, but kind of what I remember the description is it just starts rebuilding itself from the base where it's kind of firing into like the end destination.
Okay.
And eventually it just takes weeks to months to kind of get it rebuilt.
Man.
But
fascinating. Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy. It was like everyone I've talked to about, they're like, never heard of it. It's like, yeah, and I guess they don't do any research on it because they're so rare. Like all their studies are just from learning from people who have had that condition.
So are you like in a medical journal somewhere that?
I don't know. I maybe got a paper written about me after that. I'm not sure, but
yeah.
So
like from the moment that, migraine, that day where you went home, with the migraine until you were healed, like how long of it? We're talking 8 months, a year?
Yeah, it was probably probably 3 to 4 months, it was mostly back. I think I remember having some issues with floaters in my eye for a while.
Okay.
But yeah, it was probably like 3 to 6 months in that range.
And did you have to wear the patch most of that?
If I didn't want to get sick, I pretty much had to wear the patch. So when I was working, I'd wear the patch. When I was driving, I'd wear the patch. Okay. Anytime where there was a lot of light. As my nerve got rebuilt, I had less sensitivity to the light, and so I could wear the patch less.
Man,
I hated wearing the patch. I tried to avoid wearing it at all costs because it's a big black eye patch, and I was in my mid to late 20s. It wasn't the look I was going for, but it was certainly the medicine I needed.
Yeah, man, wow, what a story.
Yeah,
man. What are some kind of transition a little bit? What are some common pitfalls that cause believers to drift spiritually in a moment like that? Mm-hmm. That things like that cause drift spiritually in a lot of folks' lives. And it's not always a physical or health thing, but that'd be a great example of where you could have just, just, okay, God, whatever, or blame God, right, or however we tend to do those kind of things. And so, yeah.
I think, like I said at the beginning, I think for me is just, I try and be ultra sensitive to recognize the good and bad situations. Like I don't ever expect everything to be perfect and rosy. Like there's going to be bumps in the road, but even when things are good, just try and stay humble and recognize the good and thank God for that.
Yeah.
For me personally, a couple of the pitfalls, and I still struggle with this, but one of them I had mentioned, I'm kind of a task person. I'm very driven. I feel very accountable to my work, and I really confuse myself sometimes in the immediate accountability to what I need to deliver at work. Like there's a consequence that's like right in front of me.
Yeah.
And so I tend to put more effort into that, just wanting to succeed, wanting to deliver. And where I should have my highest accountability is to God, and that doesn't always result in that. And so that is something I'm always working on recognizing and trying to prioritize it. And that's not to say to completely ignore my worldly responsibilities, but there's definitely a right balance to be had. And through my journey over many years, I am convinced that there is always a solution to have that proper balance. I just need to make it a priority and I guess and evolve or adopt that as my circumstances change a little bit. But
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
How can community and even accountability help us to stay rooted in our faith?
Yeah, I think my experience and my belief is community drives accountability. Mm-hmm. I think accountability, it takes a really well-disciplined person to stay accountable to themselves. I think it's easy to stray little by little if you're just doing it alone versus if you're with a community. You're accountable to show up, to interact, to do things. Just a group of people to be accountable with, I think, is a very great thing. And then, to me, I think all of that leads into higher levels of engagement. And just kind of like the more you do something, the more you might enjoy doing it, and it just kind of becomes part of your pattern.
Yeah. Yeah, I've seen that in my life recently. My quiet time has been more on point in the last 41 days because we're doing this Bible recap thing, and I'm doing it on the YouVersion app. And so every Sunday I'll have a few folks that are, hey, thanks for your comments and thanks for your comments. And then I just do a little blurb at the end of it. And I'm like, oh man, I better do my quiet time. Cause there's like 140 of us on this plan. And I'm like, oh, they're going to know if I don't do this. Like, so there's just like this built in, like,
right.
Oh, I'm going to do that. And not out of a, like, oh, I have to, but just the nature of the accountability component of that.
Right.
I even had a buddy text me, hey man, are you okay? Like, it's like 7 a.m. and your comments weren't there. I just want to make sure you're doing okay. And I'm like, no, I'm okay. I just slept in today.
Yeah.
So I was like, wait, are you, like, you need to stop. Why are you reading my comments every morning? Anyway, so this was hilarious for me, but just the accountability nature of that, like, it's like, oh, I better do that.
Yeah.
And just because, others are not depending on that, so to speak, but just it's creating the culture or whatever.
Right.
And so,
Yeah. And same for me. It's sometimes you just kind of need that extra to boost or, a little bit of motivation to get you going. And but yeah. Bible recap has been great. I've loved it as well. It's the reading, the podcast, just, with men's fraternity, we have a group too, and YouVersion that we'll have some chatter on a little bit, but it's a good program.
Yeah, today was like 4 chapters. I'm like, oh, okay.
I saw that.
This is a little longer than normal, which is fine, but I just wasn't expecting 4 chapters.
Yeah. So we've had a pattern of 1 or 2 for quite a while, and all of a sudden I did the same thing. I was like, 4? What?
This is out of character here a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's funny. What encouragement would you give to somebody who feels spiritually dry right now? I've often ran into lots of folks like, hey man, how you doing? How's your walk with the Lord going? Or, spiritually dry is often a phrase I've heard. And so, what encouragement would you give to somebody?
Yeah, I think a couple things. The first, I credit my wife, Sean. She is a huge encourager to pray. And I think just something as simple as that, even if you don't quite know why you're in the funk, pretty sure God does, and just praying to him to help reveal to you, what it is you're struggling with and some ideas to kind of get out of it. The other thing I would encourage with too is it's not unusual. I mean, a lot of people go through it.
Yeah.
I read something that really stuck out to me in that emotion isn't a measure of your faith. Like your faith is built in, the truth of God. It's not about your emotion. And so you're going to have highs and lows, and just kind of remembering that, and you will get out of it. And oftentimes, and this is true at work, it's true in life, or, spiritually dry moments too, is oftentimes you'll emerge stronger than where you were before. And so just kind of using that as a bit of hope and encouragement for the future, I think is hopefully helpful. But.
Yeah, no, the book of James in our, my adult life group on Monday nights, we're going to the book of James. It talks about ask the Lord for wisdom. Ask the Lord for wisdom. And I'm intrigued by I've never seen the text in the way that I have this year, because it says to ask for wisdom. And that's intriguing to me, because I'm like, well, why wouldn't it say, ask the Lord for, I don't know, other things? Like, it doesn't say ask the Lord for a certain thing, but it says ask the Lord for wisdom. And I'm going to look it up here just because it's been really helpful for me as I've been processing through just, okay, what does it look like for us as followers of Jesus when we don't know what to do? Well, where do we go? And I think I tend to go places I shouldn't go when looking for answers to things. And so I'll look it up here in just a second. But
yeah, and that's, something I always think about too, is it's, oftentimes in our world or society, it's like, okay, I'm going to go read a book, or I'm going to go find some influencer or find something on the internet. And, like, God is there. I mean, he's 24/7. He's not a person. He's there whenever you need him. It's just, but yeah, thinking of that as the first place to go is not always at the forefront of my mind either.
Yeah. Yeah, James 1:5 says, if any of you lacks wisdom, you should ask God, who gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. But when you ask, you must believe and not doubt, because the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea blown and tossed by the wind. That person, meaning the person who doubts, should not expect to receive anything from the Lord. Such a person is double-minded and unstable in all they do. So just the component of, if anybody lacks wisdom, you should ask God.
That's great.
So... yeah. If you could leave the listeners, with maybe one key reminder about staying anchored in grace, what would that be?
Yeah, I think pursue God daily. And that doesn't have to be some big, hour-long Bible study. I think just doing something small. Like I said, for me, listening to worship music or a podcast while driving around, you spend a lot of time in the car, doing something around the house. There's a lot of different media formats that you can glean from. No shortage of videos out there. Obviously reading your Bible, just do something.
Yeah.
And even if it's small, 5-10 minutes a day is way better than 0.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, awesome, man.
Yeah.
Well, before we wrap up our time here, Steve, how can we be praying for you and your family?
Yeah. I keep thinking the next season of life is going to be less busy, and it never has been the case. It's a different kind of busy, as you go from toddlers to school age to now young adults, there's always something to keep going. So I would just pray to stay centered on God and keep the prioritization of God, family, and in life and in proper balance as I carry forward into the next phases of life.
Yeah.
But
yeah, absolutely. Well, Steve, thanks for your time, man. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the House on Fire podcast. Our prayer is that this podcast activates your home for Jesus. May the light of Christ burn bright through you and yours. Until next time.